Hi, I'm Valentina from Ballet Tech. Today I'm interviewing Joshua Palmer, the People and Culture Manager from Ballet Tech. Hi Joshua.
Hi Valentina.
What's your favorite thing about going to NYU?
Going to NYU, my favorite thing was that it's right in the middle of the city. I grew up in Maine, and it's a very quiet place to grow up. And so the activity of the city, the opportunity to just be in the middle of everything was kind of amazing.
As a People and Culture Manager, what do you do at Ballet Tech?
So people and culture is kind of like human resources. So I do things related to employment, right? So people need to fill out new paperwork. When they get hired, they need to be put into our payroll system. So I double check payroll. I do stuff around benefits. So making sure people get their health insurance and the other things that we offer. And then I also coach the staff. We do professional development or adult learning sessions. I work with the executive director and artistic director as well to help them figure out what policies will work for our staff, and if they're developing new programs or doing things differently, just structurally, helping them to figure out the best structure for success as we move forward.
What's your favorite thing about Ballet Tech?
I guess the atmosphere of it, right? It's a really great space. I love the mission about it. It's very similar to my entry into dance, which was just someone just said like, hey, you should dance. And so I got this great opportunity. And so I kind of love that about Ballet Tech.
What other schools have you gone to?
Well, I grew up in Maine, like I mentioned. I went to Catholic school, just a regular elementary school. And then when I started dancing, it was in high school. My studios were just like above a church, like in the higher floors of a church. And then I went to NYU, and that's about it. I studied abroad at this other school called Salzburg Experimental Academy of Dance in Austria for just a summer. And that's pretty much it.
When you say you studied abroad, what was your experience?
So we had to apply to go our sophomore summer in college, and 6 of us were chosen to go. And basically, we were there, I think, for 2 months, and took from a bunch of different teachers from all around Europe, mostly contemporary dance, but a lot of ballet. We did a lot of Forsyth work. We got to work with one of his original company members. And it wasn't the first time I'd ever been to Europe, and it really opened my eyes to kind of what the world had to offer.
You say you've been to Europe, so are there any other places out of the U.S. that you have gone to, and where?
Yes. So I went back years later to perform just outside of Paris in a city or town called Suresnes. I've been to Jamaica to perform. I've been to a couple of places in Canada to perform, Montreal and Vancouver. And I think that's about it for work, for dance travel.
As a company member and teaching artist at the Gibney Dance, what is that?
So Gibney, so in the same building on the 5th floor, right? So I danced with them for about 5 years. They had been an all-female company for a decade. I knew about them because they taught at NYU during the summer. And then they decided to open their company back up to both men and women, or different genders. And so I auditioned and spent 5 years dancing and creating with them. Part of the teaching aspect was, again, getting to go back to NYU and teach during the summer and choreograph during the summer. But also we would do workshops out in shelters and different I guess, community resource programs. So that could be domestic violence survivors, that could be homeless teens, that could be folks living with HIV/AIDS. We did movement workshops with them, kind of catered toward whatever population they were in and what worked best for them.
When you stated that you started to dance when you started high school, what gave you the inspiration?
Oh boy, I really liked music videos growing up. I liked to sing when I was younger too. I was in choir a lot. And I don't know, in middle school I just decided to start learning dances off of the TV, from music videos. And I started doing them for talent show things at school. My teacher would, my friends knew that I did them, and so they kind of told the teacher, and we just did them as a class one year. And so someone was there at a summer program was there in the audience and approached me after.
When who was your idol of, let's say, dance?
I didn't really know much about the dance scene until I came to New York. When I came to New York, Bill T. Jones was a big draw for me, I guess. I did a lot of of my dance history research on him and his work, and I really liked his company because it seemed like it was a collection of real individual dancers. There wasn't a specific type of dancer. Everybody really, he seemed to pick for an individual purpose, what they had to offer, and I really enjoyed that versus the kind of cookie cutter approach to building companies.
Any other dance companies you've danced in? For example, Ballet Hispanico or anything?
So I worked at Ballet Hispanico, but I was not a dancer for their company. I worked with another show I'll mention is called Fraulein Maria by a choreographer named Doug Elkins. And that was a show that I worked with for about 2.5 years, and we toured all around. And it was a modern dance retelling of The Sound of Music. It was very funny. Audiences usually loved it. It was a lot of fun to do. It was a cast of 12 people, and it was we had so much fun together, and we got to travel around. Yeah.
Growing up and you realizing that you really wanted to be a dancer, how did you start to go different places and find new things to dance in?
So I started out being really interested in hip hop, and then I kind of added modern because the studio where I was offered lessons, they kind of were you have to do more than just hip hop. That was the least of their offering, kind of what they had to offer. So I decided to do modern as well. And then eventually they were if you want to do this, you're going to have to study ballet as well if you want to do this in college. So I started doing that as well. They were also involved in community theater, so I started doing some musicals and stuff just in my town. And then I didn't really kind of go anywhere else until I was starting to look for colleges.
What made you stop dancing? And then how'd you get the idea to be working at a place where dancers are?
So I stopped dancing largely because of injuries that I had. I tore my meniscus and continued dancing for about a year or two full time, and then it kind of was just a lot. So I thought I should switch and figure out something else, but I wanted to stay close to dance. So I've worked as a dance educator for Juilliard. I worked as an administrator at Ballet Hispanico. I got into HR while I was there, and that's kind of what led me here to the People and Culture Manager position.
And once again, I'm Valentina.
And I'm Joshua.
Thank you for watching Ballet Tech Talks. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for
not
watching.
coming. Thanks for watching. That's right. That's correct. Ready?
Wait, let's add a boomerang at the end.
Alright, here we go. We're losing it here.